Hi, welcome to Brain Gauge. I'm Mark Tomerdahl, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how to look at your scores. And basically, what you see on the screen is you see the Brain Gauge, and it's plugged into a laptop with the analysis package display. It's that simple. The top part is tracking history, and the stuff to the bottom left are the bar charts, and to the right of that are the raw scores. So in general, you're going to see some bar charts, and they'll look something like this. And this top one, that indicates poor results because generally short bars are bad, red is bad, green is good, long bars are good. That's simple. And these are scaled from 0 to 100%. And basically what that means is 100% puts you right at normative values. 0 means, well, you're pretty far away from the norm. And if you look at the bottom and contrast the top with the bottom, you'll see that on the bottom, those are very good results. That person scored pretty much in the normative range. Very poor results, the kind of things we see like in the next example. Actually, the example after this slide. One thing about this is that you can actually, when we make this big enough, you can read that speed, accuracy, TOJ, and timing percept. And I got another video, some other videos talking about what these specific scores mean. But for right now, just want to talk about in general. And the values above this dotted line, those all can be pretty much easily figured out in terms of your actual scores. Like speed is reaction time and reaction time variability. Okay, so the bottom ones are computed, and you have and look at combinations of tests. And the cortical metric is the overall composite of all those scores, and it's a vector analysis. So anyway, let's look at our examples. First example is just from post-concussion data. Day 1 is obviously 1 day after the concussion. Day 0 is the day of concussion. And you can see here that here's our example of not so great scores, and the scores get better with time. So as the person recovers, these scores are getting better. And you basically, if you don't want to look at all the different bars, you can just look at the cortical metrics. Notice how the cortical metric is getting better and better with each subsequent data plot. Now we want to go through a couple of case studies. I know everybody's already figured it out, but let's go ahead and take a look at this. In this case study, day 2, person failed impact. Impact's an online cognitive test, and this is day 2. Failed impact. Day 5, impact was at baseline. That means they passed. Okay, day 10 was when they were actually cleared by the clinician. And day 15 was a result of non-compliant behavior. In other words, they were already cleared, and they engaged in some activity over the course of a very long weekend where they were doing things they weren't supposed to do if they were concussed. And that made their scores a lot better. And anyway, that's what happens when you do things that result in mind-altering substances. Case study 3, this is SCAT. This is comparing to SCAT. SCAT is a sports concussion assessment tool. And in that case, with that tool, higher numbers are worse. And so on day 2, this person had a SCAT of 11, and their scores kind of reflected that. Day 9, SCAT score of 3, looked mixed. Day 16, symptom-free, and their scores reflect that. Now 3 months later, this athlete came in and started complaining of his symptoms returning, and basically the scores reflect that. Case study 4. This is just an interesting look at somebody who had a couple of concussions. Day 2 post-concussion and versus day 16, where you just notice that they completely recovered, but then they got another concussion a month later. Day 2 looked pretty similar to day 2 post-concussion on the first time, but it took a really long time to recover. It took 4 months for full recovery. So that was just an interesting thing. We didn't plot all the data in between, but it does sometimes, it takes generally much longer to recover on a second concussion, especially if it's fairly close to the first concussion, to get better. Now, this is hopefully a movie. Yep, there it goes. And this movie, if you look at it, look at the top graph and how the dot is changing each time. And what that's doing is it's stepping through different subjects. Now we're going to go to the next subject, demo 1002, and this is going to show their data for that particular day. Now the plot you're looking at is a radar plot, and you can look at radar plots or you can look at bar charts, and we're going to show you the bar chart in just a minute. But we're going to finish this series of subjects and only take another minute and look at how they go from bad to good data, and they're just stepping through their days post-concussion. We have a lot of concussion data. That's one reason you see a lot of examples of it. And after we get done with this, we're going to show you how we switch to the bar charts. And click on the bar charts, and now we're going to go through this particular subject's data one more time. It means the exact same thing, it's just a matter of preference of what you like to look at. And now we're done with that little movie, and we'll wrap up with the last slide and just say thanks for listening. And if you want more information, go to corticalmetrics.com, or you can email me your questions at mark@corticalmetrics.com.